Happy Sunday. It's a little hot out today, so I'm gonna rebuild this burner in the air conditioning comforts of my main office. I'm not going out in the shed. We have no AC out there. All right, what I'm going to do today, we're going to rebuild this Carlin burner. I got all the accessories for it. The reason I rebuild a lot of these older burners, I buy them offline, or if there's a couple at the supply house, and if they're in good shape, we'll put all new components on them, and we save them for customers that do not have a lot of money to fix their heating equipment during the winter. Not everybody can afford new heating equipment, and a lot of times the equipment can be fixed, but with the type of mechanics slash technicians that are out here today, the mindset is to sell new, always sell new. The reality is a lot of people just don't have the money, regardless of whether you do financing, whatever you do. A lot of people don't even qualify for that. So what I've been doing for a lot of years, many years, is I just take a lot of burners, refurbish them, and if the equipment can be saved, we'll install it, and we'll give you anywhere from a 3 to a 5 year warranty. I prefer Carlin. I have a lot of Blue Angels, Wayne products, but lately I've been gobbling up a lot of Carlin chassis. So today we're going to rebuild a Carlin chassis, and we'll go through the steps with you one by one, and when I'm done with this burner, it will be ready to install in somebody's equipment, and it will perform fine. Alright, so let's go through the steps. First things first, if you're going to rebuild an oil burner, you're going to sell it as refurbished. You're not going to sell it as new, no matter how good it looks. Alright, you're going to need a couple things. You're going to need a lot of things, actually, when you go over a burner. Alright, first you're going to need a new coupling. Right? We always put a new coupling. In this case, you're going to need a new transformer. This is a Carlin transformer, Sid Harvey T94. Alright, I like the older style, preferably 10,000 volts. Comes with the gasket you have to put on there. When we're doing the Carlin, a lot of times you're going to have to put a new fan, new burner fan, brand new. And the most important thing, a lot of times guys, you know, if anybody's rebuilding burners anymore, refurbishing them, you can keep the transformer if it's hot. A lot of times you won't have to put a new coupling. A lot of times you will not have to put a new fan. You can keep them if they're operating fine. The most important thing, though, that I do change no matter what, under any circumstance, is you put a new pump. So regardless of whether it's a brand new pump or a reconditioned pump from the supply house, always make sure that you just get rid of the old pump that's on the burner. You don't know if it has a seal leak, you don't know if it's passing. Just make the investment, go to the supply house, get a pump. Alright, in this case, on this burner, I'm going to put a remanufactured Sid Harvey fuel pump straight from the supply house. This way, if there's any problems with it, I know that I'm covered. Because if you have a faulty fuel pump and you have discharge that's going to leak into the boiler or the furnace, seal leak, you can have a god-awful mess. So if you're going to rebuild, refurbish oil burners, and you're going to keep a lot of the components that are on there, always change the fuel pump. Go to the supply house, either buy a remanufactured fuel pump from the supply house, or if you want to go brand spanking new, but either way, this comes with a warranty from the supply house if anything goes wrong. Bad fuel pumps can cause fires. That's your little tip. Alright, so we're going to go through this one at a time, and we're going to put this burner back together and see how it looks. First things first, you're going to need a really good degreaser. I like Hurricane Cleaner. I buy that from Sid Harvey's as well. This stuff will take the skin off your hand. Or if you got anything else that you favor, but you got to clean the burner up. We're a little stained. So I use this stuff full strength. I'll just give you a little idea. Just let it sit in. Whatever you want to use, it's up to you. Everybody's different. Let that sit for a minute, and then I'll just wipe real fast. See how that's coming clean? That looks real good. Alright, so whatever kind of degreaser you want to use, again, I like the Sid Harvey brand. See how that's coming up real nice? You want to make it look nice. You don't want to sell the customer something that's shabby looking, all oily. See how that's all coming real clean? Alright, so we're going to clean this up real fast. Second, what you're going to need a good supply of bolts and nuts. Where are we at? I know we're here somewhere. Here we go. You're going to rebuild oil burners. You got to have a stockpile of all different bolts and nuts. We have bolts here for the fuel pump. We don't have any over here for the motor, so we'll go digging around, see what we got. You got to have a good supply of fittings. Alright, this is going to be for the pump. You know, if you're going to do this line of work, you have to have a stockpile of stuff. This is a dead trade. A lot of people don't do this anymore. Everything that you see here, this is just the back of the office. Everything you see here is just set up for oil burner repairs. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. If I ain't got it, I'll get it for you. But everything here is just set up solely for oil burner repairs. This is just the back of the office. I still have a shed. I have another garage. All right, let's keep on going. We're going to clean this housing up. We're going to use a hurricane degreaser. Everything's cleaned up on this. Is just about as good as I'm going to get it. All right, so what we'll do, whenever you're working on these, always remove the static disc plate. That's what I call it. All right, static disc plate comes out so that you can get down into there. All right, we cleaned everything out. Let me put this light on. It's important that you line the screw hole up, and then these are going to sit right inside the grooves. If you cock it any other way, the transformer won't shut right. So you're going to put it in like that. And what you're going to do, you're just going to put the screw back in. Right like that. That's what holds this plate down. Not that tight yet. There we go. Alright, nice and tight. And like I said, on this particular model Carlin, you want to make sure that this plate is tight. If this plate's missing, if it's taken out, the burner will burn like total garbage. This is what builds up our wind velocity. It's important that this plate stays in here. I went over there, I picked up a motor that we had. Alright, this is a reconditioned motor also. Rebuilt. I got it from the supply house. It's right here. You get a warranty on it. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with remanufactured equipment, rebuild equipment from the supply house or the manufacturer, because they give you a warranty. Now we're going to put our fan on. Now you have a flat on the shaft of the motor. The rest of the motor is rounded, but on it you have a flat part shaft. With our fan, you have a black Allen key up here. See where my finger's at? You're going to make sure that that black Allen key is lined up with the flat of the shaft. Slide down. Now, this should slide down easily like so. You don't want to push it down or force it down, because this is precisioned at the manufacturer. This is smooth. Any little dents, creases, or anything to the fan or the shaft of the motor, you won't get it on, it won't work. So you have to make sure that this is all nice, and it should just slip on easily like so. Don't force it. What you're going to do, 5, 6, what you also do here is this. Come all the way down. Then you're going to, for Carlin, I think it's 5/32 Allen key. You're just going to tighten it up like so. See the flat where my finger's at? And we got the Allen key lined up. And then you're just going to tighten up like so. Just going to make sure it's tight. Then you'll make sure it spins. We just got the motor done. We put the fan on, tightened it all up. So you're squared away with that. Alright, every oil burner, Carlin, Wayne, Beckett, they have couplings. The couplings are different lengths. Carlin is about 2 3/8. So I have basically a lot of Beckett couplings laying around, standard couplings. So either way, the Carlin EZ burner is about 2 3/8 long in that area. So just here on the table, I just measured it up real quick, and I took a Sharpie and I marked it. What I'm going to do, I'm going to put it in the vise, and then we'll just cut it to the exact size. You can't have a coupling that's too short, because then nothing's going to work. The pump's not going to turn. You can't have a coupling that's too long, because then if you force it on, you could damage the pump shaft, or the motor just will not turn when power comes on. So let's put this in here, we'll cut this up, get it ready. So we already got it marked with a Sharpie. I measured it on the tabletop. Now, see, when you're rebuilding burners in an office, in a shop, it's easy. You got all the tools, so you could do it properly. You can also do this on the street, in the field, but you can't do as neat as a job. So what we'll do, we'll cut this off. It's already marked. Alright, we got a nice clean cut. Nice clean cut. Now you just put the ends on. One end fits the pump, the other end fits the motor. See, like so. I was telling you about the shaft being in nice condition. See how it slips on? And then the green side is the smaller side that will go on the shaft of the fuel pump. Before we put the motor on, there's something else I want to show you. We're going to take out the static plate again. We're going to take the plate out so that we can see down into the burner. Plate's off. Looking down into the burner, you see a piece of metal here. Alright, what that piece of metal is, that builds up, again, static pressure. This burner uses two components. It's got one inside the housing, if you can see that. I got the light on. Alright, see that piece of metal right there? That's important. And that metal is fixed at the factory. It's not meant to move, be bent, or anything. Then the other piece that builds up static pressure is the plate up top. This is also a service plate that comes off so that you can do work down into here when you're installing the motor and the fan. We'll do that next. We're going to take the burner and we're going to put it on its side. This way we can see down into there. This is the static disc that I was telling you about. That piece of metal that's not meant to move. Just so that you can see how it goes on. We're going to take the coupling off. We're going to put it to the side. This plate right here has to sit in between the shaft of the motor and the fan. And again, it's precisioned at the shop, at the manufacturer. It's measured, it's calibrated. It's not meant to move. So when you install your motor, the reason that I told you to take off this static plate right there, this plate here, is so that when you're servicing it, you can get your fingers in there and move it and see if it's lining up. So let's go in like so. Alright, we're lined up. Now what you do, you take your fingers, make sure that the fan moves freely and nothing's rubbing. Sounds good to me. Next, you're going to take your nuts. Going to take your screws. Put them in the flange, and then we're going to tighten this up, and the motor will be tight to the housing of the burner. Check it again. Nothing's rubbing. That's great. Everything's lined up perfectly. Take your coupling. You can slip it right through the left side of the burner. Put it right onto the shaft. There we go. Turn it. Everything looks good. Next, take your static plate, put it back onto the burner. Right down here where my finger's at, make sure the hole lines up for the screw. Make sure that each end of the static plate is in the groove. Everything's good. You got to take the bolt, take the screw, line it up. All right, nice and tight. Motor's on, coupling's on, burner fan's on. Next, we're going to get the fuel pump ready, and then we'll pop that on the burner as well. What we'll do with the fuel pump, we'll put it in this little vise. All we're going to do, we're just going to hook up the jet line fitting. Now, when you hook up the jet line fitting, when we're finished, we want the fitting like a 45-degree angle. Sort of like that when we're done. And the reason it's like that is so we can hook up our jet line. So what you're going to do, just open up the vise. Put the pump inside, tighten the vise up. As you're putting it in though, make sure nothing hits this shaft. The shaft is very delicate. If you hit the shaft and screw it up, you could damage the pump permanently. See how we're in? Alright. Now I don't know about other kinds of work, but whenever you're working on oil, I like to use Rector Seal. You have two sides to the discharge fitting. The flare side is the side that's going to go to the jet line. The other side is the side that's going to go in the pump. Just make sure that you put a nice generous amount of Rector Seal. Whatever is left over, after you're done tightening it, just wipe it off with a rag. Alright, now we're going to tighten this up. I'm going to use a crescent wrench. We're going to tighten this up all the way around. Then when I'm finished, we're going to come on a 45-degree. We're all tightened up. Let's take a rag, wipe off the excess pipe dope. Make it look neat. Get it out. We'll come over here and we'll assemble it on the burner. Coupling's in there. The green side is for the shaft of the pump, like I told you. Now there's no need to take the plate off up top. Not right now. Oh, one more thing. When you're putting these Carlins together, this plate actually comes off. It's important that this is on. This is the reason why is because this plate has an indicator on it. See where my finger's at? That little dial. As we move our band back and forth, this dial will line up with whatever size nozzle you have. You know what this reminds me of? It sort of reminds me of the Price is Right, the wheel with the little dial on it. Right. So make sure that's on. Just take the fan, turn the pump if you have to, like this, a few times. Alright. Then what you're going to do, just make sure that the holes line up with the plate and the ears of the pump. And you'll see the holes for the screws right in there. We'll line these up next. Put your screws in, then just take your screwdriver, tighten everything up. Everything's tight. Next, we're going to put the transformer on. Transformer goes on the back of the burner. There's two screws here that hold the transformer down. Let's take them both off. Transformer has a hinge. The hinge comes to the back of the burner. Most transformers come with a gasket. The gasket has to be placed around here. This stops the transformer from having any air leakage while it runs. Alright, we're going to put the gasket on. The gasket's real simple. You just peel the back off, like so. You got to be kind of gentle with it, because if it gets tangled up, it could turn into a mess. It's really sticky. The adhesive on it's really good. Then just outline it. It's already pre-cut. You can't screw it up. You'll see the direction that it goes in. Alright, we got it on. Come down, come down. Alright, just like so. Transformer's fairly easy to mount. I'm making this video by myself, so I stacked up a couple nozzle boxes. This is your 10,000 volt transformer. See how the hinge goes right onto the back of the burner? Then take your screws. Just put your two screws in there, like so. Let me line this up. There you go. Take your screwdriver and then tighten them down. Go through the holes on the right side, and then your transformer will swing up. What we have to do next, since we got the transformer on, you got to put a junction box on the right side of the burner. This holds the primary control. Now this is a standard 4x4 junction box you could buy at Home Depot or anywhere. The holes don't line quite up right there, so what we're going to have to do is we're just going to have to make the existing holes here a little bit bigger. So we'll put this in the vise. Just get yourself a good bit set. We'll drill them out real quick, make them larger so everything lines up. Alright, let's just drill these out real fast. I already did one. They look pretty big. You like that quick connect. I like that. I'm telling you, I love these drills. I love the quick connect. Alright, these are about big enough. Where's that nut? Alright, this nut, this bolt's going to screw right in there. Just like so. And it is now big enough to slip through both. Alright, everything's tight. It's a little homemade. But you see how we got this in? So that's nice and sturdy. Purpose for the junction, the 4x4 junction plate being on there, is this is where we do all our electrical wiring with the primary control for the oil burner. All your wires will be in here. Your incoming power, your primary control, motor wire, and transformer wire. And we'll flip this back up. Let's put these clips up. These are also the clips that hold the transformer down. We'll flip this up like slow. The clips up front, when the transformer shuts, let me turn this light on. When the transformer shuts, to hold it down, you have a clip on each side. Make sure that these clips are tight and the transformer will not move. If you're using a 10,000 volt iron core transformer like I like to do, just always peel off that. And that's looking real good. Alright, you've seen all the new components that we've put on here. So now what we're going to do, we're going to just start it up. We have our cheater cords on, make sure everything runs. Alright, everything just came on. A little bit of oil discharge in there. You see that everything runs. So this burner will be put in our storage, and it will be used to help a customer out that doesn't have much money to fix their heating equipment. And this is what we do 7 days a week, 365 days a year. You've just seen an oil burner be rebuilt.